today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your energy, your enthusiasm at a very busy time for some of you. If I'm correct, this is the end of the 16-week extended seminar. It's ending next week. Tests are on the way. You're going to hit the books after this. I got to say, I know the feeling. I feel like I've been on a sprint for the last 16 weeks. I have a bit of a final exam coming on Monday myself, and that's what I wanted to speak about today. Thank you. You know, a few months ago, a bit more than 4 months ago, I put my hand up to run to try to be your Prime Minister because I felt we needed big changes in this country. Big changes guided by strong Canadian values with the goal of building Canada strong. And after can you guys come with me for the next 2 days? It would be fantastic. Yes, okay, good. It's going to be fun. After I was chosen to lead my party and our country, we got to work. And in just 9 days, we made significant progress on an ambitious agenda. We saw that homes have become far too expensive. You know this in the GTA. So we cut taxes on them, and we set out a strategy to build twice as many of them every year using Canadian technology, Canadian skilled trades, Canadian lumber. Yeah. We saw that the capital gains tax hike was stifling the builders and innovators that we need, so we got rid of it. We reversed it. We recognized that the consumer carbon tax was too divisive, so we eliminated it on day one, saving Canadians up to 18 cents per litre at the pump. Nous avons élargi l'accès au régime canadien de soins dentaires pour que 5 millions de Canadiens de plus puissent en bénéficier. Nous avons renforcé nos relations commerciales avec l'Union européenne, la France et le Royaume-Uni pour que nos exportateurs soient moins dépendants aux États-Unis. Yeah. Bonne idée. À la fin de ma première semaine comme Premier ministre, j'ai rassemblé tous les premiers ministres de province et territoires et nous avons décidé d'enlever les obstacles qui freinent le commerce et la mobilité de la main-d'œuvre au pays. Parce qu'il nous faut une seule économie canadienne, pas 13. And a little over a month ago, we entered the most consequential election of our lifetimes. And that's because we are in the biggest crisis of our lifetimes. President Trump is trying to fundamentally restructure the international trading system. And in the process, he is rupturing the global economy. L'incertitude économique atteint un niveau inédit et représente un frein à l'investissement. Aucun investisseur ne veut construire une nouvelle usine ou engager de nouveaux travailleurs alors que la menace de tarifs continue de peser sur l'économie. President Trump has demonstrated the cost and the consequences of our democratic choices. Le président Trump a bouleversé l'économie mondiale et il a trahi le Canada, l'allié le plus fidèle des États-Unis. Il menace les entreprises canadiennes. Il menace les travailleurs canadiens. Il menace les économies de nos retraités. In a crisis, you have to prepare for the worst, not hope for the best. And this week, President Trump repeated his attacks on Canada. He said that he's not just trolling, that he means what he says. As I've been warning for months, America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. And while that will never happen, our world has fundamentally changed. Our old relationship with the United States is over. The system of global trade anchored on the United States that Canada has relied on since the end of the Second World War, a system, while not perfect, but one that has helped deliver prosperity for our country for decades, is over. That's a tragedy, but it's also our new reality. Our task now is to chart a new course for Canada. Ensemble, nous pouvons nous donner bien que plus que ce que les Américains peuvent nous enlever. Alors que les États-Unis si seuls, le Canada pourrait guider le monde. So how do we lead the world? How do we give ourselves more than the Americans can take away? Well, in a crisis, we must first distinguish between what we can change and what we can't. We can't change President Trump, so we need a leader that can stand up to him. My question. Vive le Canada! Vive le Canada! Oui. My question to Canadians is simple. Is Pierre Poilievre the person you want sitting across the table from Donald Trump negotiating for us? Unlike Pierre Poilievre, I'm not a career politician, but I have managed budgets before. I have managed economies before. I have managed crises before. This is a time for experience, not experiments. Right. Dans une crise, il faut bâtir, pas détruire. Dans une crise, il faut des actions audacieuses, pas de vieilles idées. Dans une crise, il faut rassembler, pas diviser. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. We can and we will control our destiny with the right plan. Because in a crisis, plan beats no plan. And to win in a crisis, we know that we must act with overwhelming force to overcome the anxieties that people feel, to break through the uncertainties that businesses face, and to replace what the crisis is taking away. That's what our plan for Canada Strong will do. We will fight back against Trump's tariffs. We will protect our workers and businesses, and above all, we will build, baby, build. And that's important. That's important. That's important for the future of the students and the young people here today. You deserve homes that are affordable, careers that are fulfilling, an economy that works for you and for all Canadians. Avec notre plan, nous allons bâtir des logements, faire du Canada une superpuissance énergétique, bâtir de bonnes carrières dans les métiers spécialisés et bâtir de nouveaux corridors commerciaux avec des partenaires fiables. By ushering in a new era of investment, jobs and growth, our plan will create $20,000 in new growth for every Canadian over the next 5 years. Our plan will build Canada strong. I've been traveling across Canada for the last few months since I chose to enter politics. And in that time, I've met so many kind and generous and hardworking and patriotic Canadians. There are many stories, but I'll mention one. A few weeks ago, I met a teacher from Glen Williams Public School in Georgetown, Ontario. And she told me about a routine assignment that she'd given to her 9- and 10-year-olds. And the kids were asked to describe their dreams for Canada, and she shared them with me in a letter. Some of the children wrote about a country free from poverty. Others dreamt of clean air and water, or a place where everyone enjoyed equal rights, dignity, and respect. But many of the children wrote about tariffs and the threats to our sovereignty, words that I had not met at that age. And to quote one of them that represented them, "I dream of a safe, a kind, and a clean Canada, a Canada that is not the U.S." So yesterday I had a chance to go back and meet with the children and respond. And I told them that I share their dream of a Canada where everyone is safe, where people are kind to each other, and where people can be who they want to be. I told them also that I understood their concerns about President Trump's threats, but because of them, because of their parents, their friends, and millions of Canadians like them, we will emerge stronger from this crisis than before. I told them that their ambitious dreams and their strong values are the foundations, the very foundations of a strong country, a Canada that's even better, a Canada that is worthy of their dreams. So to the students and the faculty, the friends and family here today at Seneca Polytechnic, and to all Canadians, I would say this: this is a critical election. There are some people on both sides of our border who claim that we're not a real country. They couldn't be more wrong. Canada is more than a nation. We are a confederation. We are a sacred set of ideas and ideals built on practical foundations. We know we're not perfect, but we always strive to be good. We do things not because they're easy, but because they are right. That much of the strength as a country, our strength lies in our resolve to work together in our unity. Because united, we have done hard things, seemingly impossible things throughout our history. United, we have built one nation in harsh conditions with sometimes a hostile neighbor. United, we've confronted our own past with Indigenous peoples. United, we have created universal public health care. Unis, nous avons bâti un pays qui ressemble des langues, des cultures et des croyances différentes. Unis, nous avons bâti des institutions culturelles essentielles comme CBC, Radio Can. United today, we are buying Canadian. United, we are exploring everything our country has to offer. United, we are supporting our friends, our neighbors, in the crosshairs of President Trump. United, we are standing up for our nation. And united, we will win this trade war, and we will build the strongest economy in the G7 that works for everyone. We will win. That's right. So I'm asking for your support to unite our nation through this crisis, to protect the values we share, to build an even better country. I'm asking you to vote with me for positive reasons, regardless of which party you voted for or supported in the past. I'm asking for your vote to stand up to Donald Trump, to build a united Canada, to build a Canada. To build. And we will build a Canada worthy of our values and bring our Canada closer to the dreams of our children. Build Canada strong. Thank you. And with that, happy to...
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll now start with a question from the media delegation.
Good morning, Mr. Carney. Tom Perry with CBC. You've got a packed schedule for the last couple of days of the campaign. We're in a conservative riding right now, so I'm wondering, looking ahead, the ridings you're going to be visiting, the places you'll be going, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you playing offense or defense right now?
We're trying to speak to as many Canadians as possible, energize amazing groups of people like this. As I said, I mean, we are in the equivalent of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup in the last 2 minutes, and it's all to play for, and intend to leave everything on the ice. So many Canadians.
Next question.
Bonjour, madame.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur Carney. Laurence Martin, Radio-Canada. Qu'est-ce que c'est votre plus grand regret dans cette campagne?
C'est un peu comme ma réponse de la dernière question. Nous avons un pays grand. Il y a 40 millions de personnes d'ici, et j'aurais aimé parler à plus de gens à travers le pays. La course est courte, alors c'est le regret de n'avoir pas l'occasion de parler à tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes.
Est-ce que sur votre conversation avec M. Trump et le 51e État, vous vous dites, a posteriori, j'aurais pu être plus clair avec les Canadiens?
Non, je suis à l'aise avec ça, parce que ce qui est important, c'est les résultats de l'appel. Et le résultat, qu'il y aura une négociation qui commencera la semaine prochaine avec le Premier ministre du Canada, le président des États-Unis. Alors, ça c'est important, alors, une négociation en ce qui concerne un partenariat global. Et la grande question pour l'élection est qui va représenter le Canada. Pas de regret.
Next question.
Merci.
Hi, Mr. Carney, Brian Platt with Bloomberg. In your remarks today, you said you're going to stand up to Donald Trump, that you're the best negotiator. But when you speak at rallies, you actually go further than this. You say you're going to win a trade war, that Canada's going to win in this. Are you setting an unrealistic expectation for Canadians about what's coming over the next year or two when you say this?
I think Brian, there's a few things. Thank you for the question. The first is to put into context what's at stake here. If we just sit back, if we take what the Americans want, if we lose the negotiations, and I will use that term, if we lose the negotiation because we give them what they want, we will lose as a country. We will be damaged. We'll lose access to their market. They will do more damage to us. However, if we build this country strong, if we create one Canadian economy out of 13, that alone is bigger than the hit that we can get from the U.S. economy. But then if we go further and we double the pace of housing growth, we build clean energy, we build the energy transition and conventional energy as well, and we build out our very considerable trading opportunities around the world, we will give ourselves many multiples of that in terms of return. That's winning the trade war. Building Canada strong, that's winning the trade war. That's what we can do.
Next question.
Right.
Carney, Mackenzie Gray with Global News. Do you believe Donald Trump will leave office after he's done this term?
I've got enough to worry about right now. Thank you, Mackenzie. Look, the president has an ambitious agenda for the U.S., and he's just getting started, and he has a long time to do it. I'm very realistic about what that agenda means for our country, and if I'm able to earn the confidence of Canadians and represent Canada, we'll focus exclusively on what's best for Canada. Yeah.
The reason I brought it up is because at the debate, when Mr. Blanchette was talking about pipelines being built, he said that, well, Mr. Trump will be gone by the time they're built. You piped in and said that he may try and stay on. So do you think he will stay on past his term?
You're listening very closely. Look, let me go to the comment about horizons for investments. Okay? No, but this is an important point. This is an important point. Do I believe he's going I believe he'll respect the Constitution. How's that? Okay? En français, à ce moment-ci, je crois qu'il va respecter la Constitution américaine et les limites dedans. Puis, but the point about investment quickly is we need to do things in the short, medium, and long term. But our ability to do things such as build big energy infrastructure in hydroelectricity and conventional energy pipelines, in your example, in that exchange. Those are goods in and of themselves, but they improve our negotiating position with the Americans. Having options, building options, having alternatives, the growth that comes from that, that's good in and of itself, as I just said, but it actually gives you leverage. So it's important that we come together and make those decisions, and that's one of the reasons, my last point on this, is that when we met as first ministers, so-called first ministers, the premiers and myself, and Prime Minister Legault, we agreed that we would focus on nation-building projects, identify and focus on those quickly. And that's part of what I would do if Canadians give me their confidence, which is to get to a position where we've identified the big projects we're going to do. So we get moving on those, but also we show the Americans that we're not waiting for the phone to ring. Okay, we have other work to do. And when they're ready to have a serious discussion, we'll have a serious discussion.
Next question.
Bonjour, Monsieur Carney. Michel Sabat, la presse canadienne. Vous savez, les sondages donnent votre parti gagnant. Certains de vos électeurs peuvent se dire, qu'est-ce que ça donne alors d'aller voter dans ce cas-là? À quel point craignez-vous les conséquences d'une faible sortie de vote, y compris d'échapper une majorité?
La seule chose que je peux faire est de parler aux Canadiens, de rendre nos messages positifs. Ils sont des messages positifs. Et à ce moment-ci, avec les votes en avance, c'est le contraire. C'est beaucoup plus élevé qu'avant. Alors, et l'engagement des Canadiens maintenant, des Canadiens et Canadiennes sont très hauts à ce moment-ci. Je crois que plusieurs Canadiens vont voter, mais on verra. D'accord.
Votre avance, ce n'est pas une menace?
Pardon?
Votre avance dans les sondages, ce n'est pas une menace?
Non. Il y a un seul sondage qui compte. C'est lundi. Look, all I can do and all I will do is to speak to as many Canadians as possible with our positive messages. And with respect to the participation, I just note the high level of engagement of Canadians on the ground in all forms of political activity, including in advanced polling, and expect that will continue.
Next question.
Good morning, Mr. Carney. Justin Ling, freelance. In recent weeks in the U.S., you've seen instances of deportations without due process to El Salvador. You've seen tourists arrested, detained, deported, and you've seen arrests of judges who have blocked these deportation orders. Given all of that, what message would you give to Canadians traveling to the U.S., and do you have concerns about the state of the rule of law in America?
Well, I think what I'd say as follows is that the U.S. system is one of checks and balances, famously, and we have also seen a series of judgments in the U.S., for example, with respect to a recent judgment from memory, I'll get the exact date wrong, but a Boston judge with respect to certain forms of deportations that have been ruled, at least in this instance, as illegal and that having force. So the American system has many checks and balances. At its core is the rule of law, and I expect that to continue. Yes, I'm concerned about certain circumstances, and of course we continue to monitor the behavior in the U.S. with respect to agreements that we have with them.
Next question.
Althea Raj, the Toronto Star. Polls suggest that you're on your way to majority government, but not with more than 50% of Canadians voting for you. So I'd like to ask you a double-barreled question, if I can.
Sure.
Do you think it's fair that you could possibly obtain a very strong majority mandate with less than a majority of the country voting for you? And we've seen in the last week you sharpening your attacks against Pierre Poilievre. We saw the crowd boo this morning. We saw them boo last night. We've seen the Conservative leader also sharpen his attack, suggest that Liberals don't want people to own a house. They want people foraging for their food, or they believe that the Liberal future means that you will be foraging for our food. If you do win on Monday, what will you do to reach out to all the millions of people who will have voted for Pierre Poilievre?
Well, they're not going to have to forage for food. Look, I'm running to be Prime Minister of the country. I'm doing everything I can to be as transparent as I can about what we will do if we gain the confidence of Canadians under our system. But the Prime Minister of the country is the Prime Minister of the country, the Prime Minister of works for every Canadian all the time, regardless of who they voted for or whether they voted, and for young people who can't vote as well. So it's a tremendous responsibility, and it's one I view in its totality. So if I'm humbly speaking, if I gain that confidence through our system, absolutely, we'll work for all Canadians.
Next question.
Bonjour, Mélanie Marquis, La Presse. Hier, le chef du Bloc québécois, M. Blanchet, a dit que le Canada était un pays artificiel sans aucune réelle signification. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de ça et qu'est-ce que ça dit sur M. Blanchet?
C'est pour les autres gens de juger ces commentaires. Moi, je les rejette complètement. Je suis fier d'être Canadien. Il y a beaucoup d'être fier de le Canada et c'est un pays incroyable, un pays unique. Et j'essaie d'aider le processus qui est en train de s'unifier notre pays, pas de diviser notre pays. Well, it's for others to judge, to form their own opinion of those comments. I reject them completely. This is an incredible country. I'm incredibly proud to be Canadian. We have done incredible things, or those who came before us have done incredible things to create this kind, diverse, ambitious, humble country. And what I see and what I would look to be part of is this process that is underway of the country coming together, of unifying. And I want to support that, not divide.
Next question. Next question.
Alex Ballingall with the Toronto Star. You've talked a lot, basically at every rally, and this morning again, about how the United States wants to break us, own us, take our land, water, and resources. Is there a scenario, in your view, where they use or try to use military force to accomplish those goals?
No. Short answer, Alex, is no. No.
And if you could...
Non.
Why? Why are you saying that?
Il n'y a pas de scénario. Nous sommes en français, je commence en français. Non, il n'y a pas de scénario, à mon avis, que les États-Unis utilisent la force militaire. Nous sommes encore des partenaires dans l'OTAN, par exemple. Il y a un article 5 dans l'OTAN. Et I do think that, if I may switch back to answer the balance of your question, look, the U.S. is trying to put economic pressure on us to gain major concessions and to the extreme of a level of integration of our countries that would impinge our sovereignty. We have to be clear-eyed about this. This is what, these aren't just words. When I say in a crisis, you have to prepare for the worst. And the worst is that is the goal. Take what the president says literally. I take it literally. I always have. Others have said it's a joke. Others ignored it for months. Right from the start, I took it seriously. And because of that, that drives our actions. That drives the strength of our response to their tariffs. That's why we're one of the countries that are retaliating. That drives the strength and the ambition of the economic strategy to build Canada strong. And it will drive our negotiation. We'll be absolutely clear-eyed about the risk. There is a landing place here, but we will not accept anything less than what that is. Thank you.
We'll take one last question from the media delegation before going to locals.
Mr. Carney, Mike Lecouteur with CTV News. In your opening remarks, you said you have a big test on Monday. You've always said that you've been raised with humility as well. So with that humility, give yourself a grade on this campaign.
Well, all the tests that I've taken, the teacher gives you the grade, and Canadians are the teachers in this circumstance.
All right, we'll take two questions from local media.
Tu veux en français?
Oh.
Non. C'est à vous, monsieur.
Hi, PM. Mr. Carney, I just wanted to ask you, this is Shubi from iMedia.
Okay.
We wanted to know when you become Prime Minister, what is it that you're going to do for Canada-India relations, as you know that they have been a little bit strained and stuff? So what is it that you're going to be looking to do?
Well, so I'm just going to change the premise of your question, which is if Canadians give me their confidence and on Monday and I become Prime Minister. Look, it's an incredibly important relationship, the Canadian-Indian relationship, on many levels. On the personal level, with Canadians, many deep personal ties, economically, strategically, very important. There are strains on that relationship that we didn't cause, to be clear, but there is a path forward to address those with mutual respect and to build out. And I'll say this, that from experience, that at this point where the world economy, but also the global system has been shaken and is being reshaped, countries like Canada, like India specifically, can play an outsized role in building an open, shared economy, shared ideas, a shared relationship. And I think the opportunity will be created. For that, it's been created because of the negative events that have happened. When I'm speaking specifically about the trade war, but it's one of the opportunities that I would look to pursue if I were selected by Canadians. Thank you.
We'll take one last question.
Yeah. Great.
Hi, Mr. Carney. James Matthews from Sky News. Based on...
That's a version of local media.
Local somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Based on Donald Trump's performance so far, and based on your limited conversation with him, what makes you think you can influence how he interacts with Canada? And at the risk of taking you back to a dark place, what lessons of Brexit will you apply?
Well, I think the lessons of Brexit are beginning to be applied to the United States. You know, when you break off or substantially rupture trade relationships with your major trading partners, Canada included, most important trading partner of the United States, you end up with slower growth, higher inflation, higher interest rates, volatility, weaker currency, a weaker economy. And we're in the early stages of that in the United States. And that's one of the important things here. So with respect to influencing the president, with respect to the dynamics of a negotiation, is America is going to get weaker as time goes on. We're going to get stronger. Okay? That's what Canada Strong means. That's why we have this strategy. That is what we're going to do.
Thank you. This is what concludes today's press conference. Oh, en français.
En français? Finalement. En ce qui concerne la comparaison de Brexit, c'est un exemple pour les États-Unis, pas pour le Canada. Si on crée une rupture par rapport aux les grands partenaires commerciaux, on a une devise plus faible, une économie plus faible, le chômage, l'inflation et des taux d'entrée plus hauts. Et ça arrive exactement comme ça maintenant aux États-Unis. Les Américains vont affaiblir et les Canadiens et Canadiens vont être plus forts. Un Canada fort. Merci beaucoup. Merci.